Sigmas? Have you ever felt like an outsider in a world that just doesn't get you? Like you're on a journey most people wouldn't even understand? Well, you're not alone. Every Sigma male walks a path that is anything but ordinary. But what if I told you that your Sigma journey follows 6 unexpected stages? Ones that shape you into the independent, self-reliant force you are meant to be. Picture this: a man is sitting alone in a coffee shop, observing the world. He's always been different. He doesn't fit in with the crowd, but he doesn't want to. From childhood, he rejected the need for constant validation. Teachers called him too quiet. Friends called him mysterious. Society tried to label him, but he refused to wear the tag. Sound familiar? Being a Sigma male isn't just a personality trait. It's a transformation. It's a journey filled with stages that break, refine, and shape you into the ultimate lone wolf. And most men don't even realize they're going through them. What are these stages? How do they mold you into an unstoppable force? And more importantly, which stage are you in right now? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand the 6 stages every Sigma male goes through, you'll also learn how to harness them to become even more powerful. Stage 1, the awakening, realizing you're different. It all starts here. One day, you wake up and realize that you don't think like everyone else. You don't crave social approval. You don't feel the need to You find yourself questioning the traditional paths society lays out. School, job, marriage, retirement. You wonder, is this really all there is? This stage is both exhilarating and terrifying. On one hand, you feel an overwhelming sense of freedom, like a bird that just realized the cage door was never locked. On the other hand, you feel alone. The world tells you that success is measured by validation from others, but you couldn't care less about fitting in. This is when the first real test begins. Society will try to pull you back. Friends might say you're overthinking things. Just go with the flow. Family members might worry, asking, why don't you just settle down? But deep inside, you know the truth. You were never meant to be a part of the herd. David Icke once said, the greatest prison people live in is the fear of what others think, and that fear keeps millions trapped, stuck in unfulfilling careers, toxic relationships, and a lifestyle designed to keep them chasing things that don't matter. Sigmas, this is where you start questioning everything, and that's a good thing, because what follows next is even more powerful. When you reject societal conditioning, something shifts inside you. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You focus on self-mastery, learning skills not because they impress others, but because they expand your mind. You build financial independence, not to show off wealth, but to buy your freedom. You choose relationships based on depth and authenticity, not social expectations. Most people are too afraid to walk this path, but that's what sets you apart. You are not afraid to be misunderstood. You embrace the unknown, and as you step further into your Sigma mindset, you realize something incredible. This path of solitude is not a curse. It's the greatest strength you'll ever have, because while the world chases approval, you chase purpose. While others follow trends, you create your own rules. And that, my friend, is the mark of a true Sigma. Stage 2. The isolation, detaching from the system. There comes a moment in life when you start pulling away, not because you're antisocial or withdrawn, but because you've outgrown certain environments. The chatter of meaningless social circles no longer excites you. The weight of toxic relationships becomes too heavy to carry. The expectations of others, what you should do, who you should be, start feeling like chains rather than guidance. And so, without drama or announcement, you begin to distance yourself. This isn't isolation, it's evolution. You start valuing solitude over superficial connections, not because you dislike people, but because you now crave depth, authenticity, and purpose. You realize that time is your most valuable asset, and you refuse to waste it on conversations that drain you or relationships that don't align with your growth. You become highly selective about who and what you invest your energy in, like a master strategist protecting their most valuable resources. To the outside world, this transformation can look confusing. Some will call you lonely because society often equates solitude with emptiness. But you know the truth. You're not alone. You're focused. While others chase distractions, you're building. Mentally, you're feeding your mind with knowledge. Emotionally, you're healing and strengthening your resilience. Financially, you're making smarter moves, setting up the foundation for a life on your terms. But here's the catch. This is also the stage where resistance comes in. Friends might start questioning your decisions. They may say you've changed, as if change isn't the very essence of growth. Some may call you weird for not following the crowd anymore. They might not understand why you're no longer showing up to every gathering or entertaining the same small talk. It's uncomfortable even for you, but necessary. And here's the beautiful truth. Those who genuinely matter will respect it. They'll recognize your journey and support your choices. The ones who resist, guilt trip, or try to pull you back, they were never meant to stay. Growth has a way of naturally filtering people out. This phase is a test. It's where you either succumb to the pressure of fitting in or fully embrace your transformation. And if you stay the course, you'll soon find yourself surrounded by the right people, those who match your energy, value your presence, and walk alongside you in purpose. Because in the end, pulling away isn't about losing people. It's about finding yourself. Stage 3. The self-discovery, finding your true identity. Once you detach from the expectations of society, something profound happens. Who am I? What do I truly want from life? What actually matters to me? These aren't just casual thoughts. They mark the beginning of an intense internal journey, one that most people avoid because it requires deep introspection, brutal honesty, and the courage to stand alone. This is where Sigma males thrive. Instead of seeking distractions, you seek answers. Instead of following the herd, you carve your own path. And how do you do this? By diving headfirst into philosophy, psychology, and self-improvement. Nietzsche, Marcus Aurelius, Carl Jung, and even modern thinkers like Robert Greene and Jordan Peterson become your companions. You devour knowledge, not for mere entertainment, but to understand yourself at the deepest level. Mastery over mediocrity. This period of introspection isn't just theoretical, it's practical. You start identifying your natural strengths and honing them with precision. Whether it's mastering a skill, perfecting a craft, or building a business, you channel your energy into something that adds real value. You also recognize your weaknesses, not as limitations, but as areas for growth. Unlike the average person who avoids discomfort, you seek it out because you understand that mastery is born in discomfort. The power of minimalism. Many Sigma males naturally drift toward minimalism at this stage. Why? Because they realize that true power comes from within, not from expensive clothes, flashy cars, or the validation of others. A cluttered life is a distracted life, and Sigmas value clarity above all else. They start shedding unnecessary material possessions, not out of frugality, but out of strategy. A simple, streamlined life allows for maximum focus, maximum independence, and maximum efficiency. Think about it. Every great thinker, warrior, and leader in history had a level of detachment from excess. From the Spartan warriors to the samurais, from Stoic philosophers to modern-day entrepreneurs, true power never resided in possessions. It resided in discipline and self-sufficiency. By this stage, you're no longer playing by society's rules. You're setting your own. You're building something real, a mindset, a skill set, a life of purpose. And that, my friend, is where the Sigma truly begins to rise. In stage 4, the mastery developing unshakable confidence. This is when things get real. This is when you step into the version of yourself that no longer seeks validation, no longer bends to expectations, and no longer explains his existence. You own who you are, not in a loud, boastful way, but in a quiet, unshakable manner that turns heads without a word. At this stage, a transformation occurs. It's not just in how you think, but in how you carry yourself. You move differently, more intentionally, more controlled, more self-assured. Your body language speaks before you do. Slow, deliberate movements, unwavering eye contact, a calm presence that commands respect, and people notice. Women sense something different about you, something rare, something intriguing. It's not neediness, not showmanship, but an energy that says, I know who I am and I don't need to prove it. Men, on the other hand, respect you, even if they don't fully understand why. It's because you're not easily rattled. You don't react. You respond. You're not swayed by groupthink. You stand firm in your own principles. You've mastered emotional control, and that, in itself, is a power most people never attain. But here's the real secret. It's not arrogance. It's self-mastery. And self-mastery is rare. In a world where people are slaves to impulse, you've learned to govern yourself. You control your emotions instead of being ruled by them. You dictate your mindset instead of letting external forces shape it. You create your own environment instead of adapting to one that doesn't serve you. This is why you become untouchable. Because when you master yourself, the world can no longer manipulate you. Insults don't faze you. Rejection doesn't shake you. Approval doesn't control you. And that makes you unstoppable. You no longer ask, what do they think of me? You ask, do I respect the man I see in the mirror? That's the only opinion that matters. And when you reach this level, life changes. Not because you sought power, but because you became power. Stage 5, the shadow phase and inner demons. No journey is complete without challenges. Even Sigma males, known for their independence and unshakable mindset, must confront their inner battles. This phase, the shadow phase, is the ultimate test of resilience. It's when past wounds, unresolved doubts, and deeply buried fears resurface. It's when the mind whispers, maybe you should go back. Maybe you should fit in. Maybe this path isn't for you. The world, seeing your deviation from the norm, will try to pull you back into mediocrity. Society thrives on predictability, on conformity. And when you refuse to be just another cog in the machine, resistance appears. Not just from external forces, but from within. This is the point where many falter. But a true Sigma, he does the opposite. Instead of running from his demons, he invites them in. He doesn't numb himself with distractions or seek validation from others. Instead, he observes his fears, analyzes his doubts, and extracts the wisdom hidden in past failures. This is not an easy process. It's brutal. It's lonely. It's a battlefield where the only enemy is yourself. Psychologists refer to this as shadow work, the process of confronting the parts of yourself you've ignored or suppressed. The Sigma male, whether consciously or not, embarks on this journey of self-awareness. He revisits his past mistakes not to dwell on them, but to understand them. He acknowledges his flaws not as weaknesses, but as stepping stones for growth. This process leads to an undeniable transformation. A man who has faced his darkness no longer fears it. He doesn't crumble under pressure. He doesn't waver when challenged. He becomes unbreakable. While others remain prisoners of their insecurities, the Sigma evolves. He emerges from the fire, not burned, but reforged, sharper than ever. And that is why true Sigmas never return to mediocrity. Because once you've conquered your own mind, no external force can control you. Stage 6. The Sigma apex, becoming the lone wolf leader. This is the final stage. The transformation is complete. You've mastered independence, self-discipline, and emotional resilience. You are no longer searching. You have arrived. At this stage, you don't just survive, you thrive. You have control over your life, your goals, and your destiny. People see you as a mystery, an enigma, a force that cannot be controlled or tamed, and you like it that way. But how did you get here? This transformation wasn't given to you. It was earned. Through relentless self-improvement, discipline, and the willingness to stand alone, you've built a foundation that no storm can shake. You've developed an unbreakable mindset, one that isn't swayed by trends, opinions, or validation. While others chase approval, you move with quiet confidence, knowing that your worth is not up for debate. The world now sees you differently. Some admire you, some envy you, and others fear you, because you represent something rare, true autonomy. While society conditions most people to seek external validation, you've shattered that illusion. You don't crave attention, yet you attract it. You don't seek leadership, yet people look to you for guidance. You don't chase relationships, yet the right ones gravitate toward you. This is what happens when you master yourself. The best part? You no longer need to prove anything to anyone. The burden of proving your worth, explaining your decisions, or justifying your solitude is gone. You walk your own path and the world either follows or gets left behind. This isn't arrogance. It's liberation. When you no longer live for the expectations of others, you become truly unstoppable. Your time, energy, and focus are directed toward your own growth and purpose. You build, create, and achieve without distraction. You've eliminated the unnecessary, fake friendships, toxic environments, and shallow pursuits. What remains is pure, undiluted purpose, and this is the essence of true freedom. You are the architect of your own destiny. No one controls you, no one dictates your path, and no one defines your success but you. While the masses drift with the current, you carve your own way, fearless and unapologetic. This is the final stage. You've arrived. Sigma's The path of a lone wolf isn't easy, but it's worth it. Every stage you go through shapes you into something greater. So now the question is, which stage are you in right now? Drop it in the comments. I want to know. And if you found value in this, make sure to subscribe and like this video. Join this community of Sigmas who are walking their own path and mastering their own destiny. Having said this, stay strong, stay sharp, and keep moving forward.